And what are you most nervous about?
Him coming back for me, and I used to go to the park every day with my grandma until he did this, and now I don't want to go back.
Tonight on The Edge, a brave little girl sharing her heartbreaking story as her family sues the man accused of slitting her throat. The horrific attack came as she played in a Detroit park last year.
And the family believes their daughter was targeted just for being Muslim. Fox News' Dave Kinchin joining us live with the latest on this story. Dave.
Yeah, you know, these details are very disturbing, maybe disturbing for some viewers, so certainly keep that in mind. But this little girl, absolutely so brave and so courageous to tell her story. Now, the attorney for the little girl and her family says they just now decided to file this $50 million lawsuit against the man accused of attacking her because a judge had ruled that he is competent to stand trial. This is after a mental health evaluation that took place. 8-year-old Seda Mashra was 7 when she was slit in the throat. Her throat was slashed while playing at Lloyd Ryan Park last year. Police say 74-year-old Gary Lansky committed the unspeakable act. The attorney for the girl and her family says that her grandmother took her to the playground just like she always did when the suspect pulled up, slashes her throat, and tries to attack the grandmother too, all according to the allegations. They believe that they were targeted because they are Muslim. Listen to what this little girl says to her attacker directly, and she talks about the nightmares that she's suffered in the last year.
I'll tell him to stay in jail forever until he dies. I dream about the whole entire park, blood, and I feel like in my dreams the guy would say, "I'm coming back for you." And that makes me scared, and that's why I cry in the middle of the night.
She was basically just on a normal day going. Her grandma took her to the playground like every normal human being takes their children, grandchild to the playground, where she's been going there for a number of years. And Lord and behold, this person pulls up in a van, walks right out, lifts her chin, slices her throat with a knife, and tries to stab her. And then not only that, tries to also go after her grandma, who is wearing a hijab, to try to stab her as well.
Now, there are many graphic details in the lawsuit, including the allegation that the suspect was driving around and daydreaming of slashing a child's throat in front of their parents and peers. Now, we're told by the little girl that the suspect did not say anything before the attack took place. Again, the family feels they were targeted because of their Muslim faith, and we will keep you updated as this lawsuit progresses. Reporting live at Detroit Police Headquarters, Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
So I just want to be clear here. They are suing the suspect for $50 million. Anyone else? Because I'm sure he doesn't maybe have access to $50 million.
Yeah, I think that's the speculation, really, is that this suspect may not have access to that kind of money. I think what we are hearing from sources on this is that it's really about sending a statement, just raising awareness about how horrific this attack was. We do know, according to investigators, there were witnesses in that area. This is a park with other kids playing around. There's houses across the street from the park, so there are apparently witnesses to all of this. But I think the biggest thing, it seems, is that the family really wants to raise awareness about this terrible thing that took place.
Well, hopefully, though, they will get justice at the very least. Dave Kinchin reporting live for us. Thank you.
All new tonight, a Warren man found guilty of burning down his girlfriend's mobile home, killing 2 of her cats. 29-year-old Jesse Humphrey will remain behind bars until he is sentenced next month. Last September, Humphrey torched his girlfriend's home. She wasn't there, but sadly, both of her cats did not make it out. Today, the jury convicted Humphrey on arson and killing animals charges. He's facing up to 60 years in prison.
To see, and this is the second time that I think they've been broken into recently. I was kind of surprised, but then not surprised.
An SUV filled to the brim with burglars smashing through a clothing store on Detroit's west side. Take a look at the heavy damage to the City Man store on Livernois near 7 Mile. Police say the SUV barreled through the front door around 4 this morning. 6 people jumped out and got away in a different SUV with thousands of dollars worth of clothes. Officers still looking for those suspects, last seen in a dark-colored Durango.
Able to identify brake dust on the wheel well, smudges that were on the vehicle, and bird poop that was on the vehicle.
Well, that's one way to track down an attempted murder suspect. Jason Martin was from East Point, and the businessman he's accused of shooting at, both showing up to court today. Martin allegedly ambushed Eddie Jawad at his Macomb Township mansion on 24 Mile last week, rattling off 7 rounds, with 1 hitting the victim in the leg. The suspect pleaded not guilty to 6 charges. He's been on parole for armed robbery, kidnapping, and assault in Ohio.
Well, Vista Maria, the haven for children who are victims of abuse, ending its mental health services. It's located near West Warren and Evergreen and Dearborn Heights. Operators say a range of factors have made it really tough to care for kids with mental health needs. They'll be transferred now to other facilities by December 19th. In a statement, Vista Maria says it will continue to strengthen its other programs like foster care, juvenile justice, and independent living.
I want Detroiters to remember that there was a woman who served them for a lifetime.
Detroiters, friends, family, and many others honoring the life of Carolyn Kilpatrick. The former congresswoman and state legislator died earlier this month at the age of 80.
It was a big crowd this afternoon at Greater Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. People there shared stories about her work ethic, her kindness, her generosity, and so much more.
Congresswoman Kilpatrick paid my mortgage when I was in between members. Congresswoman Kilpatrick told me to hold my head up and put my shoulders back. I was slouching. You know, Congresswoman Kilpatrick just loved people.
Every time she came to the school, she poured into me. She also strengthened my resolve and understanding that we can learn. She was amazing.
And in order, the instructions.
Former Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, you heard, says he and his sister Ayanna were with their mother in her final moments. Following the public funeral, the family did hold a private burial.
Well, an update for you tonight on the ongoing drama at Hamtramck City Hall. There's more. The city and its former police chief have reached a separation agreement. Jamil Al-Thaheri is getting 5 months' salary and allowed to resign instead of being fired. The city council voted to fire Al-Thaheri as well as city manager Max Garbarino after a bombshell report centering around misconduct allegations. Al-Thaheri sued the city and Garbarino, but according to his attorney, both sides have settled that suit. You can read full details about the investigation right now on fox2detroit.com.
A woman in Detroit going to great lengths to rescue dogs that have had a rough life.
A rough life indeed. This is part of a partnership formed after we stumbled upon an encampment. Let's get live to Fox News' Jessica Dupnack. She has more on Detroit's west side with this story. Jessica, this is a good story.
Yeah, happy to report this one, Roop and Taryn. For about 7 years, that local woman you mentioned has been taking in stray and dump dogs on a neighborhood in Detroit. And she keeps them on her property that she owns in the area, at least gives them a shot at a better life. We told you about her story earlier this month, and since then, the outpouring of support has truly been overwhelming from Fox 2 viewers. And of course, Detroit Dog Rescue has absolutely stepped up in a big way, making it so that woman Elizabeth is not alone. Now, we were there when Detroit Dog Rescue and Elizabeth Samut collaborated after our story aired, and the good news, now DDR is involved. 4 of Elizabeth's dogs were taken to be adopted out. That's just so far. Plus, a dump dog just after we shot our story last week. He was dumped in the area. Elizabeth took him in, and DDR immediately picked him up where he will eventually be adopted out.
This is such good news because, you know, there's only so much that I can do. You know, they're the professionals. We're the boots on the ground, but we can't do what they do.
I do have dry, too. I'll bring you another week. There is a massive stray population, neglect issue, drop-off problem in Rouge Park, in Brightmoor, in many parks in the city of Detroit. I don't care what anybody says. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I could do it for 150 more years.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. That little black and white dog you saw there before this sound, his name is aptly Oreo Crunch. He will eventually be up for adoption with Detroit Dog Rescue. Now, Elizabeth Samut, the woman that really started this grassroots operation, she said, please donate to Detroit Dog Rescue. That information is on our website. Reporting live on Detroit's west side, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Yeah, it's great to rescue, to see DDR do these rescues, and anyone who can help that organization should. Question for you, Jessica. You've been covering crime in the city for years now. Would you say that the problem with these stray dogs and abandoned dogs, is this a lot worse than you've seen in years past?
You know what? I think it's better compared to when I first started, even working up in Flint. There's a big problem up there too. But I do think in the last 6 months or so, we've seen an uptick, especially of those dumped dogs. And this is an indicator of a tough economic situation that we're possibly entering. People just can't afford to keep 2 and 3 dogs anymore, so they resort to dumping them. And we are hearing too that shelters in our area are absolutely packed. So it's not a great situation that we're entering in on, and that is exactly why we need donations and great people like Detroit Dog Rescue.
Yeah, Christina Rinaldi and her whole team doing great work to help these little pups, that's for sure. Hey, Jessica Dupnack for us live tonight. Thank you. The Fox 2 Problem Solver is working for you. If you have an issue that you just can't get solved, no one seems to want to help, let us know. Contact the Fox 2 Problem Solvers by scanning the QR code on your screen to send us an email. When we say we're working for you, it's not just a slogan. We do it each and every night.
As you see on the videos, 1 second you can lose your life.
What were you feeling and thinking in that moment?
I only think about my family.
A restaurant owner thankful to be alive after he was attacked in his own store. How he managed to survive. That's still ahead on The Edge.
Certainly damp to begin today, and notice how over the last few hours most of the rain has backed off to our west. So there is rain around Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, close to Lansing, through the Irish Hills as well. But overnight tonight, more of those showers will come back into southeast Michigan. Look at that, 51 degrees the high today. The average high is 59. Not